a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. Step inside, we're breaking chains.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, my mic was down. Good evening, everybody. How you everybody doing this evening? Welcome to this little bit of a pre-show here that we have going on. Show's going to get ready to start pretty soon, top of the hour. I'm here with Brent Gibson, candidate for Knox County Sheriff 2026, hanging out. Stories about UT football, stories about coaching football, leadership.
That's right.
And a whole bunch of good stuff. So I hope you guys are staying tuned. Welcome everybody to the chat. We're just checking out the mics, make sure it's working. I'm here with Gibson. I sound good. How's Brent?
How do I sound? Pretty good.
I think he sounds pretty good.
Right.
Let's check out. Yeah. We're good. All right. So if you have any questions while you're here, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll get to them when we can. Yeah. Thank you all for joining. We'll be starting shortly, live on the radio. And yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit to get through this first few parts of the show. And that's pretty fast. Go. And there's a glare of a mic over here. So let me, if I move too far away with the mic, I can't do that. Maybe if I turn away. It is what it is. So it's not about me. It's about making.
That's right.
Which is
it's tough.
Whitewash me. All right, so wait a second. Now, and we're just going to hang out and have some fun. Got some questions. Get through some topics. Like I said, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We're ready to start at the top of the hour. Thank you again. There we go. I'm going to take Brent off camera for a second so he can relax. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Prosperity Lounge. Hope meets freedom. It's personal. I'm your host, Joey Ruffalo, best-selling author, business growth strategist, and founder of the Prosperity Lounge community, where we talk about money mindset, community, and making a difference. What does real leadership look like in law enforcement today? Not just enforcing laws, but leading people, building trust, and serving with integrity. Maybe uniting a community. Because being a sheriff isn't just about wearing a badge. It's about setting the tone for what leadership looks like across the entire county. So every week we pull conversations that inspire growth in business, in life, and in leadership. Tonight we're talking about leadership that shows up. leadership that serves with integrity and builds strong communities. My guest knows a thing or two about that. He's a proud University of Tennessee alum, former Vol football player, wearing my UT orange for tonight, our Big Orange Friday, and a longtime law enforcement officer, and now candidate for Knox County Sheriff, Brent Gibson. So, welcome, Sheriff, and welcome, Brent, to the show.
All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for being here, Brent.
Yeah. Glad to be here. Appreciate the call.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and have you introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself to everyone.
All right. So I'm Brent Gibson. I came here in 1992 to play football at the University of Tennessee, a scholarship athlete. But a little bit before that, my dad was in the United States Army, so I grew up all over the United States. My parents are originally from Western North Carolina, but I was born in Fort Jackson, and then we shortly moved after Fort Jackson back to Virginia, Fort Belvoir, and then down to Texas, Fort Hood. Then went across seas over into Germany in Hanau, and then back to the United States side to North Carolina at Fort Bragg, and then just for a short stint, and then back to Fort Belvoir, where we spent the last 9 years of my dad's Army service in Virginia, Northern Virginia. Up there, I attended Hayfield High School until the 10th grade year, and then I moved to Western North Carolina, where I finished out my high school career. And that's what brought me to Tennessee. Is I was recruited heavily by a lot of SEC and ACC schools. Had pretty much my choice of where I wanted to go. And a guy by the name of Heath Schuler I played against in Western North Carolina, Bryson City, a very good quarterback, as you know, but he was the biggest kid on the team, his high school team, and they were 1A school, and he was a man amongst boys, I tell you that. And so he was already over at UT, and I was dead set on going to Florida State. Bobby Bowden was unbelievable, awesome coach, and an even better guy. So he said, "Why don't you come over to UT, check it out? If you don't like it, you don't have to come." So they came. I came over, saw the facilities, fell in love with the place, and then above that, my mom fell in love with Johnny Major. So he's a real man of many words. God rest his soul. But had a great time at UT. Played a lot of football, learned a lot of things about leadership and what to do and not to do. Some of what not to do might come up later. But I had a great time over there. Joined the police force shortly after I graduated in 1999. Is when I actually joined the Knox County Sheriff's Office. I started out in courts. Shortly thereafter, went to the academy and then went to patrol. Started out on the DUI shift for the first 5 years of my career. Worked straight nights for almost 5 years straight, and had a blast. Learned a lot about DUI, traffic stops, drug interdiction, things like that. Been valuable stuff that most guys didn't get a chance to do because they were out pumping calls. And so from the DUI shift, I went to patrol. Quickly became an FTO, started training other officers, and then made sergeant. From sergeant, went to lieutenant on patrol, and from lieutenant became a shift commander as a captain on patrol. In 2016, the sheriff at the time, JJ Jones, asked me to move over to training, so I took over training from 2016 until right before I retired, and pretty much trained every officer at the department, new and the old, in service, through the academy and those things. In the meantime, I joined the SWAT team, tried out for the SWAT team, made the SWAT team, uh, worked on the SWAT team for about 20 years, and then in 2018, took over as the SWAT team commander. So had a great career, loved every second of it. More than anything, loved the guys and girls that I worked with. Had a great opportunity to do a lot of good things with a lot of different agencies. Got a chance to go to the FBI Academy in 2015. met a met a whole bunch of people. It's a great networking deal where you get a chance to see, you know, all the departments in America and meet all those people. So, you know, when we go on vacation, sometimes I'll call up an NA buddy and go hang out with them. So it's pretty neat. We have a great time there. My wife is also law enforcement. She spent 20 years herself at Knox County before um, moving up to Sevierville Beach, where she's a patrolman up there. Uh, she uh, she was a lieutenant over.
Weekend, didn't
Yeah, they did. Thank goodness we were out of town. Yeah, I've never seen that many people at one gas station in my entire life. But yeah, luckily things didn't get too out of hand. So,
Right.
but yeah,
Well, first of all, thank you for your service.
appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
especially
Yeah,
military,
yeah.
military brat, I guess, growing up.
I definitely was. Grew up on all the military bases in the United States.
I want to quickly get back to your recruiting process. We've had a couple athletes in here before. We had Patrick Green, who's the goalie on the UT hockey team,
Okay.
ice hockey team, and then we had Caitlin Ryan last week, who played softball at UT.
Right.
And we talked a little bit about the recruiting process. Obviously, nowadays it's not different. You said you were in schools.
You're right.
You missed that. You get a chance for money.
Yeah. So that would have been nice. But yeah, it was against the rules. You know, you couldn't even accept a hamburger from anybody back then, and yeah, it's nuts. Somehow we made it on Mom's $40 that she sent, you know, via snail mail, and you know, back before cell phones and everything else. So they took very good care of us over at UT. We didn't want for anything. I mean, we lived right there, and the cafeteria was downstairs, and you know, everybody that went to school with me, you know, grew and loved Gibbs Hall and the training facility. And, you know, we had class right across the street, and then our stadium was a block away. So, you know, that's one of the big reasons that brought me to UT. The facilities were amazing. And, you know, there's a bunch of facilities around around the United States that, you know, that were very nice. But UT was kind of a home. It was in the mountains here. You know, I'm a mountain boy anyway, so it reminded me I'm only an hour and a half away from my mom and dad at the time. So you know, I'm a big mama's boy. Everybody that knows me knows that. So it was nice to be close to home anyway.
So I want to start off by talking a little bit about leadership. So you, football field, stadium, you're out there, front lines of a football game, the front lines of law enforcement. What does leadership mean to you, and how has that definition evolved through those different experiences?
Right. So leadership, you know, there's many different kinds of leadership. So leadership that really impressed me the most were, you know, so I had a position coach when I first got here, Coach Former, who turned into my coach, and he had done it before. You know, we followed in his footsteps. You know, he was on the gridiron before we were. He was speaking everything he was speaking. He was speaking from personal experience, and you know, it's hard to have somebody tell somebody else what to do if they haven't done it before. So one of those things, you know, that's kind of the reason that I got back into coaching is, you know, if I'm not the one that's gonna try to lead our youth, our young men back back from stray, and then get them on the right plane so they can go down that road and make a great living for themselves and be great fathers and husbands and everything else. You know, I try to show them the way, and I had that in college and in high school. You know, every coach that I ever had was not only a good leader, but he led by example. You know, he was, you know, every chance he got to get off the field and go home and spend time with his family, he did. You know, and the same thing with law enforcement. If you don't, you know, your family's first, no matter what. And if you don't make time for them, they're not going to be there very long for you. So giving back to these young men at at the high school level now is kind of what fills that need in my leadership roles. And you know, those kids respond really well to the way of the old school way of coaching. Coach Former was not a he didn't wear kid gloves. Let's put it that way. He was in your face and said some very disturbing things at times, but it was a great motivator. I kind of take take that style of coaching and leadership. I'm not a rah rah guy, and I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. But you mess up, I'm gonna tell you, and I'll hold you accountable.
Yeah, that's great. There's so many different leadership styles we learn throughout the weeks on the lead from the side, lead from behind, 360 leadership, motivational leadership, practical whip leadership. They all got different they all work in different settings, I
Sure.
guess, for how it works. But finding what works for you, people can gravitate around. You can get everybody to follow you, or you get the right people to follow you.
Right.
And sometimes it's just not having the right people doesn't mean you have to get the quantity, the
You
quality.
got to get everybody. You got to reach out. Some people don't are not. They don't learn the same. So everybody, what motivates you may not motivate me. So I got to find a way to motivate those people that uh, don't have the same motivation. Sometimes is it's easier to get from somebody that listen. I can scream and yell at you, and that may motivate you, but that's also intimidating for another person, and it doesn't do well. So I'm all about this is our goal. These are the things we got to work towards. How help me help you get there. And being a coach and playing sports all my life, doing the things that I've done on both on and off the field, have have taught me a lot of valuable lessons in leading a lot of people. So at a very young age, I became a supervisor on patrol, and I was leading 20, 20 to 25 young men, and they were hanging on every word that I was saying because sometimes it did mean life or death. Uh, what am I going to do now, Sergeant? That kind of thing. So you can't take it lightly. You can all you can do is prepare yourself and be as prepared as you can be for what's about to happen. And you never know, especially in my profession, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So some of the things we learn about is discipline, teamwork, and accountability. We hear that in sports. We hear it in service as well. How do some of those translate to your leadership philosophy?
Well, just like I said, we'll lay a goal out there. We'll decide as a team on how to get there. We'll come up with a game plan, and then we'll follow that game plan as close as we can until we have to change something on the game plan. If somebody's not pulling their weight, we got to hold them accountable and make sure they're doing their part. And you get that a lot in my profession. It's people get a little burned out, or they sometimes they're just not in it, and that leads to complacency, and complacency leads to death. And we don't. That's one of the things that we just can't afford in our life. You know, uh,
Absolutely.
so
So like UT fans, in general, and the greater community here, I've found knows that what it means to represent something bigger than yourself, right? It's not you, it's the institution. It's not you're not bigger than the entity. How does that mindset carry over into public service?
the reason I got into law enforcement is I wanted teamwork feeling. In law enforcement, it's kind of the closest thing you can get to where you're working with a team and you got set goals. You're not playing a game, but it's almost like a game. You're trying to figure out how to outsmart some of the criminals and doing some of the things that. And at the end of the day, who's victorious in trying to get that done. It's not always the biggest, the strongest, the fastest guy that wins the game. It's the guy that studies and strategizes. I mean, I played with Peyton Manning. I mean, obviously, he doesn't run the fastest. He probably does have the strongest arm I've seen in a long time. But I played with Keith Schuler, who could throw from his knees 70 yards, which is absolutely crazy. So, he didn't have the strongest arm I've ever seen.
Wow.
And physical ability, that's not why he won. He won because he studied so hard. I mean, I wish I had half what he had, uh, and realized what it would do for me at that young age. I didn't realize that until later in life.
Can you tell us what Omaha means?
He didn't use that in college.
Yeah,
Not so.
All right.
Uh,
So what stands out for me a lot is that leadership isn't about titles.
right.
I've been learning that myself a lot lately through the guest and changing my own perspective on a few things. It's about trust, trusting people that are around you, and trust starts out long before you get the badge or all the time. And something you've said is that leadership is about service, not status. In your role and in your campaign, and full disclosure, I'm running for sheriff next year, Knox County Sheriff. And so, in your role, campaign, in your life, what does it look like in practice? That service, not status, stability. Like,
Right.
yeah,
So the service thing, like I come from a family of service. My dad's a Vietnam vet. Spent 26 years in the military. He serving his United States of America. I mean, and the time he spent overseas and doing the things away from his family and things like that, it kind of, it was bigger than him. He was serving something bigger than him. And all my time at the sheriff's office is the same way. I'm serving something that's bigger than me. It's bigger than my beat partner. It's bigger than my bosses. Uh, we're trying to make Knoxville safe, trying to make Knoxville great, improving everything every day. And, that's kind of the goal of every police officer. What we know that not every day is going to be exciting. We don't have a car chase or do those kind of crazy stuff every day. But it's about the little things you do. You go to a house and you help out a child that needs something. Say that the child hadn't eaten or whatever the case may be, and you help that kid out and help that family out. And that makes the difference. And that's people remember that. And I think we have a good. The men and women in the Knox County Sheriff's Office, those in corrections, they have great heart. And they're people of service. And one of the hardest jobs at the sheriff's office is a corrections job. And you got to sit in that place. And it is not a desirable place to be. But those people do a great job of trying to rehabilitate uh, the inmates in the jail.
yeah. I don't envy you guys. You guys do a tough enough job. Enforcement. Oh my gosh.
When we get, at least we get paid a whole lot, right? So let me tell you a little bit about that. So in 1999, the first year of service, I made $18,000 in 1999, and I'd have done it for free, because it was so much fun, and I had such a good time. Uh, Obviously, I had goals and aspired to be something else, and made way more, a whole lot more money, later on in my career. But starting out at $18,000 was, we could do all kinds of stuff with that. Fortunately, I lived in a apartment that was paid for. I was a courtesy officer. I had side jobs, so I had a little extra money on the side on my days off and things like that. So we made it work. Me and my wife were both cops, so we were, we struggled through parentship. If it wasn't for my mother, Mimi, is what my kids call her. If it wasn't for her, man, yeah, shout out to Mimi. She passed in 2014, and well, you're talking about the sweetest woman that ever walked the earth. She was a gentle giant. She was about 6'1", 250 pounds. That's where I got my size from. Yeah, don't mess with Mimi.
Wow, that's awesome, Brent.
Yeah,
So let's talk about community for a second.
sure.
That's a big word. Trust in the community, especially with policing nowadays. I think we've seen a little bit of a turnaround in a sense, but not. Yeah, I don't want to get into politics too much. But there was a time where I think there was a reverence for police force and policing, and then a disconnect with what goes on, and then a somewhat we kind of get it, but we're still watching. We're going to be watchful.
Right.
And that trust is a big factor of that. How do you rebuild trust, and how do you keep it once it's
Right. So this is and I think it's one of the easiest things to do. Did it when I was a young cop. So, you go into your communities and we assign everybody a beat. So your beat's a pretty large beat. So you got, sometimes several square miles that you're covering, and you go out there and you make acquaintances with those people. Most of the time, you run the same beat for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, and rotate shifts from day, evenings, and night. But it's the same people that live out there and work out there. So, go by and see those small business owners. Introduce yourself. Give them a card. Hey, if you need anything, my number's right there on that card. Give me a call or text me. if you see something out of the ordinary. And now they can put a name to that badge, and you seem more human now. Yeah,
Working the beat necessarily isn't like
right,
patrolling. You're sitting there, but you're not just sitting around waiting for something to happen. You can be
right.
proactive, reactive, learn the community, learn the people there,
Yes,
let they can trust you. But then there's also part of that trust showing up when called for,
absolutely.
and how they expect you to react to keep that trust going. You say
Sure.
one thing, it's just like, whatever, don't show up or take your time or don't follow through on certain things. That's where you get a little murky with keeping the trust. You got to earn it first. And going out there and really making the acquaintances, it's probably going to be tougher in some neighborhoods than others
Oh,
for
for
sure.
sure.
But you got to work at it. They see you working at it, see if you care. People are going to be more willing to sort of um, I don't want to say police themselves, but cooperate. They're living in
Yeah.
that neighborhood too. They don't want that neighborhood to be
Well,
safe.
they're going to hold themselves and other neighbors accountable for their
Absolutely.
actions. So, you get out there and you meet all those neighborhoods. They don't have to like you. They don't even have to respect you. They just got to know that you're there and you're going to come when called on. So those people in those communities, most people in your community are good people, and they want the same things you do. So, there's not a I hate to say a bad community. There's more crime-ridden communities than others, but there's good people everywhere. And, who knows those communities better than the people that live in them themselves?
Right.
So if I meet those people in those communities that are having trouble and let's say their cars are getting broken into, they got some burglaries, whatever the case may be, if I know those people in the communities, they feel safe in coming to me and talking to me, and we have a relationship. So now, if one of those people call, I really wanna know what's going on. Even if I'm not working, I'm gonna help the next guy that's running that beat when I'm not running it. "Hey, listen, I know I'm not working tonight, but you're working. Could you run by and check on, Mike? He's over here in such and such address, and he's having this kind of problem." And that's what police work's all about, and you pass that along to your beat partner, and your beat partners are like, "Hey, man," and then when they get there, "Hey, uh, my beat partner told me that, and yeah, we're good friends, and he's a great guy, and he comes around," and that keeps everybody accountable. So, it starts at the basic level of meeting the people in your community and treating those people like people.
Absolutely. So law enforcement, like you said, it's about people first. It's about treating people. It's about getting out there. How do you keep morale high while still demanding accountability from your officers? Or how will you do that?
Yeah, well, so morale, it comes in, several different ways. We talked about money. So money is a big, listen, money's not everything. Money helps. Money's nice when you need it. So, yeah, we're gonna have to figure it out. Our pay scale has been the same kind of pay scale for a lot of years. Don't wanna get into that, but, we're gonna have to change that. Uh, you know, uh, the benefits that we get there, we pay way too much for insurance. We need to figure something out there. My wife, when she moved departments and went to Sevierville PD, her insurance is $40 a month, and I was paying over $500 a month for family insurance. So let's figure it out, man. Is that the department, pitching in on that? I'm sure it is, but we gotta figure that out. So it's not only in monetary raises and, raising their salaries, but raise those benefits up a little bit. $500 a month is a lot of money to folks. I mean, to anybody.
Yeah, because if you're starting off with somebody who's brand new, and it's any company or business, it's the same thing. It's the cost of let's say cost of acquisition, cost of training, and getting somebody ready to go, and then you're not able to keep them longer. You're
Right.
not able to allow somebody
Yeah.
sitting with a well-trained
Yeah.
officer or a
Believe me.
well-trained person on your dime.
Yeah.
They put the money into training them. You're putting all that money out. Oh, we're just training them for the next
Yeah.
person.
Well,
To some other departments.
I've trained, since 2016. I've trained every academy there, so I know better than most how many people stick around and how many don't. And the retention level is we have a pretty high retention level. There's no doubt about that. But people, the grass is always greener on the other side. We're one of the biggest law enforcement agencies in Tennessee and the biggest in East Tennessee. So we have more people than a lot of other departments do. Our pay is very competitive, but it's still below most of the major departments in this area. So retention. We got great equipment. We got all the nice toys. toys for everybody. We issue everybody their own weapons. They got to buy those. We give them uniform allowances and those kind of things. But there's always more that you can do, and the more the more things that you can offer somebody to keep them around, the better off you're going to be. But like I said, the grass is always greener on the other side. You train them. We no longer have a pension, and we got to change that. The state has a pension that we need to check in on and see about that. So,
Now you're talking about training officers. I had a question in the chat for you.
sure.
Will Brent and his team be better at sporting plays next year than they came in last place this year?
Hey, listen, sporting clays is not real shooting. I probably could have shoot those sporting clays better with my pistol, but I did buy an over and under. So I am practicing. So watch out next year. I'm going to get you. Believe me. I did have a guy on my team that came in last, and he actually got a trophy for the last place. We're very proud of him. Yeah, listen, I'm very proficient at a pistol. Listen, Glock is my middle name.
Oh man. A little serious question before we take our little quick intermission here. But
Sure.
Elected, what are your top priorities for your first 90 days to make a visible impact in Knox County?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to do, and I've already mentioned it right off the bat, is we're going to look into the pay scale, first of all, right? And then our benefits as far as insurance goes and pension, right? And then after we look at those three things, let's get back to the grassroots police work. And I'm not talking about anywhere. I'm talking about anywhere in the county. So the county, it comes down into the city. Let's do a better job being visible in our community. And does that mean more police officers? Does that mean more patrolmen? What does that mean? Does that mean we're moving somebody from so they are visible? We have over 1,000 employees at the Knox County Sheriff's Office, and right now, we got what 25, 26, 27 on patrol. We have a traffic unit and some other things going on at the same time, and the evening and night shift overlap. So that's when we have the most officers out there, but people are still saying we never see officers. So let's be more visible and figure out how to do that.
One question I'll have to ask that just came up a couple of days ago on the news, and it affects us out in West Knox County, is the sheriff's department hub or whatever they have over there in Turkey.
Precinct.
Yeah, precinct in Turkey Creek. They lost their lease.
Right.
Got to find another location out in
Out west.
Out west Knox. They would have to
Sure.
area in Turkey Creek area. How does like that affect? When you're talking about staffing, you're talking about getting guys out on patrol. People having to go further out for certain areas now, or trying to set up a precinct in different areas. Goes into that a little bit.
So precincts are kind of it saves the community from having to drive all the way downtown to get copies of reports and things like that. So if you got an issue, you can drive to the precinct. It's a little bit closer. Mainly, what it does, in my opinion, after being on the street, it gives our cops a safe place to go use the bathroom at night and things like that. So they have paperwork and extra stuff there for everybody, and then a safe place to take your gun off so you can use the bathroom or whatever the case may be. But it is one of those vital things that we got 3 precincts now, and I think that's good. So we definitely need to find somewhere to move that west precinct.
Yeah, and I was kind of shocked, honestly, from just a citizen's perspective, that you guys had to pay rent on a building, or I was just assuming hey, cops
right,
the facility or the management would be like, welcome having a precinct here. It's going to cut down on the time between calls, especially in a shopping district like that.
Sure.
It's just kind of
and I think they did give us a special deal, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really know exactly what went in. That was under another administration, and I wasn't privy to the information. But I'm sure that there's a piece of Knox County owned land or a building somewhere in the West, and maybe even it's a business owner that more than welcomes us in and gives us a little piece of their place or something like that.
You're first, everybody out in West Knox County.
Got a lot of friends here, so we'll make it happen for sure.
All right. If you're just tuning in, thank you everybody for joining us live on 6.3 FM and in YouTube here at the Prosperity Lounge. Some of you might be watching on Facebook as well, but thank you. If you're not, come on over to YouTube at youtube.com at the Prosperity Lounge. Join our live chat. We got about 20 people in here right now. We got a good crowd going on, asking questions, goofing off a little bit, competing to be who's not going to be number one in the chat with the contest going on this week with you.
Hey, honey, I know she's gonna be one of them.
So, tuning in again, my guest today is Brent Gibson. He's a candidate for Knox County Sheriff next year on the ballot. You can learn more about Brent at electbrentgibson.com. And don't forget, you can catch the Prosperity Lounge every Friday night, like now at 6 o'clock, or stream it anytime on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, everywhere. The replays are put up every Monday, and you can join the free community at theprosperitylounge.com to keep the conversation going. All right, Brent.
Right. This mine over here.
That is yours. You're going to get into something when you take a little sip here. We're still live. I said, I meant my little action, but you're good.
Sorry.
You're
Got dry.
We're going to get into something that you and I have talked a little bit about, and I think I got the most, I don't want to say questions about, but like, hey, if you're going to ask him something, ask him about this. And that is Knox County is the national attention for being on Patrol Live, which covers, I think it's 9 different departments, Friday and Saturday nights, live in quotations from 9 to midnight or whatever it is, or 6 to 9, 9 to midnight. Yeah, I think it's 9 to midnight Eastern. We feature local deputies on national television doing their thing. Some say it's bringing transparency, others say it's bringing added pressure. Let's talk a little bit about what modern policing looks like today. We don't have to get too much into the production of the show. Kind of be more about transparency and modern policing. So we've seen firsthand on cameras, whether they're body cams or TV crews, shape how people view policing. What is your take on that balance between transparency and pressure?
So, big proponent of transparency. I hope to bring the Knox County Sheriff's Office to a unprecedented level of transparency. I don't have anything to hide, never have. I'm an open book. Listen, I make mistakes just like everybody else does, and we're gonna make mistakes as a department. And everybody talks about let's get out in front of it. Well, we shouldn't have to get out in front of it. We should just be transparent and let people know, hey, this is what's going on. We may have messed this up a little bit. Work hard to do better next time, and it's not going to happen again. And if it does, we're going to hold whoever it is accountable for whatever it is that they've done. So transparency means a lot of things to a lot of different people. That's what it means to me. If asked a question, answer it. It may not be the answer they want, but give them something to go with. Sometimes just talking to a person, and you really don't give them any information other than just being there for the person and saying, "Hey, listen, when I can give you more information, I will. I promise." But just saying we don't have any information and going at that is sometimes not the right answer.
And that goes back to that trust factor we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
It's being able to trust not so much the action, but also the word.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are you follow through? Can you give me some stuff? Am I just being, a lot of it we used to do is, am I just being heard?
Right. And
I just want to be heard.
Right. And that's a lot of it. Because a lot of times I just want to be heard too, and when I go on my rant and raves to those teenage kids that I'm coaching on the offensive line, I just want to be heard. They don't have to hear me. I just want them to sit there and listen, and a lot of times that's what it is. And if we can make people feel comfortable around us, and we don't have to be anything special. We're not, listen, I can't, I don't have a special machine that says, hey, if you elect Brent Gibson, I'm going to make all crime stop. That's not going to happen, and there's always going to be bad people. This profession will always be here. But we can be a bigger part of the community also. The officers can care more about people, and people will start caring back. I promise you that.
Now we've seen the show here put Knox County in a national spotlight,
Right.
not so much for doing its thing as far as policing goes and stuff, but also the impact on the greater community and the officers' lives themselves. But what kind of impact? I know you're not in the administration right now or around the show or around the
Right.
production part of it, but as an officer, putting yourself in the shoes of somebody who might be like impacted by this whole experience or the one leading the department this time, whether or not
Sure.
to do this, what impact do you think that has on both side of the department and the community, this national spotlight that
Well, I
we're
think it
having?
does help in community relations. It gives, although there's not very many officers that are on patrol live, they follow the same few things like all the time, which is great. But it gives the community somebody that they can relate to, and maybe the next time that they see a police officer, even though it's not the person they saw on patrol live, they see somebody that's there. They have a interaction with them, and they get the same kind of interaction that the folks on Patrol Live get, and which is great. So that helps with our community involvement. It also helps with our recruitment. It brings a new level of human human humanizing the officers. Because they're just people, and you can see that on Patrol Live. Those kids are just kids, a 26, 27, 28-year-old kid out there trying to do the best that he can with what he's got and make sure nobody gets hurt. I mean, and I think that's awesome. And people look at that and say, hey, I want to be like that guy. I want to do that for a living. So it didn't hurt in our recruitment and involving the community and everything. So, I think on Patrol Live, listen, I'm a fan of Cops. I grew up watching Cops. I mean, that was my favorite. Listen, if Cops was on, I was watching. So I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and obviously it would have to. There's some particular things. It's not as live as everybody thinks it is, and there's some things that the department has the ability to delete things and not show some things and things like that. And I think that has to be there for special things. You don't want to run into somebody that's involved in another case, and then you blow that case because they're doing something else. So
Right.
there's got to be that too. So I don't think it's anything but a good thing. I think they pick specific areas for specific reasons, and Knoxville is one of the greatest places on earth to live. I mean, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah, there used to be a show before Knoxville. It was on, I think it was on A&E. Can't really remember. Might have been on A&E. Called Southern Justice.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
This taped one that was up in Napa.
Oh yeah,
up in
yeah.
Tri-City
Oh, I
area.
remember. Yeah,
We used to we lived still in
yeah. It
California.
had parts of Kentucky in it and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
See, get a little bit
yeah.
of love. So
Right,
we were
right.
excited when Knox County got on this one. Ooh, hopefully you don't shoot. I remember the first episode we watched when Knox County was on. It was somebody had stolen an inflatable Santa Claus. They were trying. I was like, beautiful.
Awesome.
There was just
Listen, it's a bigger problem than you think it is. I'm telling you that right now. West Knoxville, people steal those ornaments.
there's always a risk when policing happens, whether it's on TV or with a body camera situation. We've seen on one of the episodes one of the officers, Dalton Swinger, get
Yeah.
massively hurt on
Real good guy. Went through one of my academies. He's a super, super, super good guy. Yeah,
One of the questions that came in from Reddit was they really wanted to know what he was doing, if he had
sure.
and how he's recovering, and and then how are they handling this type of national exposure?
Yeah, so he's doing really well. Yeah, so he was in a coma for like 3 days, and he had a lot of. But we text every now and again. We've been close ever since he went through the academy. So he's a great guy. I reached out to him when I heard and didn't hear back from him for a few days, and I got kind of worried, so I was calling. And they kind of kept me updated because I've not been out that long, and all these guys that are on patrol and on patrol live, they've been in my academy. So I kind of know everybody there, and I train at least 65% of those guys that are on patrol right now, and then everybody else through the in service. So a special relationship with everybody. We had our retirement shoot last weekend, and just the older guys that come back. I can't believe I'm one of those older guys now, but some of the stories that we shared and some of the things that we did to our training, the supervisors that were training back when we were there. It just doesn't go away. I mean, that's what I miss. I don't know that I miss the job as much as I miss being around those people and having a similar goal, uh, and and fighting the good fight together. So and that's the same thing I miss about football. I miss the guys. And I'm lucky enough. Man, we're having a tailgate tomorrow. All the VFLs are coming back in down at the indoor facility, and I can't wait to see these guys. And you play with there's over 100 people on the team every year, so you're playing with you see hundreds and hundreds of guys come and go through your career in college football, and I mean, it's something special. Everybody's got something similar in common because you played on the same football field. So, and it's the same way in police work. I mean,
So speaking about training,
sure.
and get back to the transparency and the camera situations and things like that, is that something that is part of training, how to deal with scrutiny or how to deal with that kind of exposure and how to deal with
Absolutely.
preparing them without losing focus or compassion? Obviously it's a new element that they have to deal with. So training them, body cameras being on, and
Well, so Joe, we've been doing this since 2015 is when we went 100% body cameras. Not necessarily 100%, but every patrolman had a body camera, and anytime you're in contact with anybody, a civilian in public, you have to have it on. So we've been doing it. We're pros at it now. It's been over 10 years, and we still mess up every now and again. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes our body camera may misfunction or whatever. But the good thing about it is everybody's wearing one. So if there's more than one officer there, the other one's going to have backup. So it's something that we've always had. I had it when I first came here in 1999. We had video cameras in our DUI cars. We were the only ones that had them, but we had them because, listen, the evidence in court is way too good for you not to have a camera in your car when you're dealing with an intoxicated person on the side of the road. So, yeah, I've been doing it since the beginning of my career.
speaking of intoxication is one of the things now as new drugs come in the scene, like fentanyl has exploded. Probably was nothing a while ago.
Yeah.
Training people, you're seeing this stuff happen, these explosions of new narcotics. I think, correct me if I'm this one, they probably all carrying the Narcan with them.
Yeah, we got Narcan on everybody for sure.
It has to occur additionally than just the regular policing. Identifying mental health, addiction, poverty, things they're coming in contact with. How do the trainers stay abreast of what's new in order to pass that down to
Sure, just like we do with everything. So, let's take for example, law. The law changes every year. We know when the law is going to change, and it comes out at the same time every year. So we know kind of when to look for it. But different techniques and things like that, we get an in-service. We'll pass out, emails to we'll push out several emails, and then new training. We'll follow up with new classes in service and specialized training, things like that. So you got to stay on all that stuff, especially if it's something new and really dangerous. We always have people inventing new ways to hide a gun or disguise a gun or a knife or something like that. So you push that out to the people, hope they see it, and you try to teach it in service. Which we have a 40-hour mandatory in service every year that everybody has to. So, and we try to do way more training than that, and interesting training, things that they want to go to, stuff like that. So the training's a big deal. It's, and Knox County does it really well. We've done it really well for years and years. I was very fortunate to be a part of that for many years and have a say so in, hey, this is the way we're going to do things, and this is how it, people the retention of things is better in business. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about philosophy for a second. Policing philosophy. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's still philosophy, broken windows philosophy.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Broken windows?
Small crimes, bigger ones. Exactly. If you're going to go to a neighborhood and see there's a lot of broken windows, there's crimes that are being committed that aren't being taken seriously, and the bigger issue where you kind of focus the police force to kind of crack down on some of these crimes. You drive around essentially, and there's no broken windows. So you're not really nitpicking for crime.
Right. So you're not in the right neighborhood. So the broken windows theory is, obviously, if there's a crime committed, broken windows, and we're not fixing it. So we as cops tend to saturate places that are heavier in crime. So the places that are heavier in crime is kind of where all the cops hang out. And sometimes, that's misconstrued for, hey, they're just picking on a certain race or a certain gender of people or a certain group of persons, and which is not the case at all. We go where the crime is, and we try to figure out what's going on and what's making that crime happen, and then try to figure out a way to stop that crime. And that's what that's all about. It gets a bad rap over the years because it's tied into a bunch of the stop frisk, the whole issues that we've had back in the 2015-16.
What are they, Terry stops?
Yeah.
I know a little bit.
Terry stop is good though. Yeah. So Terry stop is good. Yeah,
remember,
we're patting for weapons. That's it.
Yeah, I remember the broken windows policy. They were bloods.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Tom Selleck and his mustache. That's a cop mustache I've ever seen.
He was fighting crime with.
I love him. Yeah, Magnum PI.
Things like technology too, like
Absolutely.
AI is coming in. I'm talking about AI assisted dispatch, data driven policing. Things, this whole new philosophy and incorporating it into departments around the country and stuff. How do you make sure innovation, or how can you make sure innovation builds that trust rather than replacing human connection?
Right. Well, so the biggest thing we worry about now is stepping on people's personal freedoms with some of those things, infringing on their rights. But yeah, so you can use those things to actually make your community involvement even better. I hate the flock cameras and things like that. It's a real time view of what's going on right now. And if used correctly and appropriately, the flock cameras are one of the best tools in fighting crime right now in the minute. But there's other things too. Facial recognition. All these things cost money. They need in time, and they play a big role in the future of our business for sure.
That's stuff. We get into our last segment here. We're
Sure.
pushing towards the top of the hour, and this hour went pretty fast. So good stuff.
Hopefully nobody fell asleep.
No, the chat. People asking questions. I had one question, jokey question.
My barber? Oh yeah, Mandy. Yeah, so my wife's best friend cuts my hair.
Sweet.
Shout out to Mandy's Chop Shop Halls.
Love it. One comment that came in about, find it here. Oh boy, where'd it go? Oh, silence on the radio is always great. About the hit and run epidemic we seem to have. Does he plan to do something about the hit and run epidemic we seem to have? I got hit and run. When I called the police, it wouldn't even come out and report it over the phone. It was never investigated, and I ended up paying for it out of my pocket. I was told by the officer when I gave the tag, even if we tracked it down, we'd have to know he was driving. They didn't care.
Yeah, so I don't know where that hit and run occurred. We're going to respond to every accident in the county. The city doesn't respond to every accident. Now, they do respond to a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. They're not out there doing anything. But Knox County is going to respond. And then, we got detectives that are going to pick up those crimes. So those hit and runs are something that, if you get a partial tag or a tag, it's something that we can track down. We may not ever bring charges, but at least we know the vehicle and that vehicle was involved in an accident, and we can at least pressure those people to do the right things, or
Sure.
use our detective skills and interrogation skills to try to get the answers that people want.
You have to mention to everybody that our buddies over at Truth Between Lines on YouTube did a whole video about broken windows.
Oh wow, awesome! Yeah, gotta go see that. Oh, Brian, he's the man. Oh, I know. He's the one. I know he's the one. Yeah. But we was too busy working and getting to the range, especially a shotgun range.
Speaking about the difference between Knox County and Knoxville Police Department, they're two different police departments, but you guys have jurisdiction of the entire county, which includes Knoxville. You can go in there and do stuff.
Yes.
Knoxville Police Department, just city of Knoxville itself, kind of similar structures, how they are appointed. You guys are elected.
Right.
City of Knoxville is appointed, serves at the discretion of the mayor. I remember Tom said that a bunch of times.
Right. Yeah.
Every time. The pleasure of the
Right. Exactly.
How do you keep that current relationship between two? How or what is your current relationship, and then how do you plan to maintain that, grow it?
Sure. Well, so I know the relationship between officers are fantastic. Uh, I got a bunch of friends that are APD officers, and love those guys just like we work at the same department. It's there's no difference. But when it comes to bosses and administration, it's a little bit different. The sheriff doesn't answer to anybody but the people that elected him. Uh, Paul over at the Chief Noel over at the city, he answers to the mayor, and he serves at the mayor's pleasure. So she's pretty much they have a working relationship, and uh, the sheriff and the mayor I know get along. I've seen them. Listen, we had an officer shot back in October a couple of years ago. They answered calls for us until we didn't need them anymore. And man, there's no better feeling than when you have a police department, that's your neighborhood police department, that will uh, bend over backwards for you. And our relationship between our administrations, I know, is good. Uh, some of the other things that those guys do, they help. We back them up on their traffic stops. They back us up. They come out to the county whenever they need to. We go inside the city and aren't afraid to call them. I know our SWAT team, all over the SWAT team, our SWAT teams work together, and all those guys are just like brothers. And we have a good relationship, and I plan to have that even better when I get a. We'll have even more things to rush over. But listen, there's nothing better than two teams working together towards the same goal. And whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whatever the case may be, everybody knows right and wrong. Let's work towards the right and fight the good fight.
Love that. So we're getting ready to wrap up here. I got a couple questions that came in from chat and from Facebook and things like that. But I want to one more question for our Q&A segment. So paint a picture for us 5 years from now. What do you hope Knox County looks like under your leadership?
I hope that we're not down the list. I hope that we're still at the top of the list of places to live in the United States of America, and that's not because of anything other than our way of life here, being proud Knoxvillians, having a great city to live in, a great county to be in, and uh, nothing else but the UT volunteers are here. I mean, what else? What else do you need? I mean, you got a great college football, and basketball, and baseball town. And sorry if I missed any of the other sports. I love them all. But Knoxville's a great place to live, and I want that to be in the top five. Forever. And, we're doing great job on crime here, and we're gonna try to even do better. And fix some of the problems that we're having. Some of the homeless problems, some of the things that they're tougher situations. I mean, it's tough. There's not a set answer how to fix things. So you got to come up as a team, and the county commission and the city council and the mayors have to come together along with the chief of police and sheriff and figure it out. And I hope to be involved in that. I want to make this place the best place to live in America.
I think that's possible.
I think we're almost there. I mean, it's not. I love living here. I don't want to live anywhere else. Exactly.
We talked on the show about prosperity. Obviously, it's a show name, Prosperity Lounge. Prosperity not just being financial, but personal and communal. what does prosperity mean to you? How do we build a community where everyone?
Well, I'm glad that, listen, so it's all about community. And, I don't know if you know me, you know that I'm the guy that, I coach football, high school football at my local high school. Both of my children, two beautiful daughters, Skyline and they are something else. And we all go to church at Clear Springs Baptist up there. And Pastor Pratt is amazing, and his staff is fantastic. And it takes a community to raise children. And my community has done that. They've done a fantastic job. So I'm giving back, and I give back in the ways that I can. I know two things. I know how to be the police, and I know football, and that's all I know. So sometimes those kids that I coach don't like me, but they're going to grow up to be better men, and I'm convinced in that. So yeah, being involved in your community, and just like you are going to the meetings that you need to go to. If you're worried about, go to a planning commission meeting, go to your local, your community meeting, your business professionals meeting, and check it out, meet people, and see what you can do. What's your niche to give back to your community?
Get off the couch.
Get off the couch, do something.
Love it.
I like it.
All right, so our Q&A segment. I'm going to get some questions that came in. It's one of my favorite Q&A segments. I'm going to say that this Q&A segment is brought to you by Baked by Grace. Have you had Grace's cookies?
No.
Garden Valley tonight. Check them out. She's 15 years old now. She has a home baker. Her mom's amazing. They both been on the show before.
No kidding.
She's my first guest.
Awesome.
She's 14. She's
she brought cookies too, huh? I'm in. I'm in. You don't get this body by not having a cookie or two.
Keep up our mind and bodies.
That's right.
Okay. David from Farragut asked, and we can do these on the quick side. What advice would you give to young people considering a career in law enforcement today?
Listen, get your education, and serve where you feel led to serve. Pray about it. It's a big step, and God will lead you in the right place. That's all I can say. I didn't join the police. I didn't join this Knox County Sheriff's Office to stay at the Knox County Sheriff's Office. I wanted to go to the FBI, but I got here and fell in love with it, and saw what they did at the FBI, and I didn't want to sit behind the desk. So, man, I loved answering calls. I loved being around other people. I loved interaction with my community. I loved helping people, and it's addictive. And I got addicted to it, and I stayed at the Knox County Sheriff's Office, set myself some goals, made decent money along the way, and had a great career.
Love that. Renee from Knoxville asked, how do we support our officers while still expecting accountability?
Yeah, so the accountability is going to listen. Supporting our community is great at supporting our officers. Listen, every time I was in a uniform in a restaurant or listen, they would try to pay for my meal. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of support we get here in Knoxville. I don't have any complaints about the people in Knox County. They love them some law enforcement, and I love them back. I mean, they do. They help if we need help. They help us. If I had a flat tire one time on my cruiser. I've had a flat tire a lot of my cruiser. But people would stop to help me, the police. I see you got a flat. Can I get? Well, I don't have a tire. I had to get them to bring me one. So, I mean, our community is amazing.
All right, one last question for you. This is from Mike from Powell, who wrote in. What's one misconception about the sheriff's office you wish the public better understood?
Ooh, misconception. We don't wake up every morning hunting for to put people in jail. We wake up in the morning to make a difference in people's lives. And I don't have to take people to jail to be successful at my job. What I do have to do is help people make a difference in their lives to be successful at my job.
I love that. Thank you so much. Great questions, everybody. Appreciate that. Appreciate our listeners as always for sending thoughtful ones each week. You can submit your questions anytime at theprosperitylounge.com or message me directly on social media. Brent, thank you for joining us and for the work you've done serving Knox County. It's clear that leadership isn't about power. It's about purpose, people, and partnership.
Absolutely.
Learn more about Brent's campaign and his vision for Knox County at electbrentgibson.com. As always, you can find the Prosperity Lounge on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more, and also at prosperitylounge.com. Use promo code radio to get your free 8-step guide on how to start living paycheck to paycheck. And that's where growth gets personal and freedom lives. So thank you so much, Brent. Until next time, everybody.
Thank you.
Stay faithful, stay fearless, and remember, freedom lives with faith and action meet. The lounge is always open. So is your next breakthrough. This is the Prosperity Lounge.
This is why